I have a lot of people who say this, Amanda, God hates divorce. And I say, sure he does. But you know what God also hates? He hates a mediocre marriage. He does not want people to get complacent or indifferent. And we know that because God, when talking about the Laodicean church, the lukewarm church, the church who's neither hot nor cold, they're kind of just indifferent. He said, you know what he says? I'm going to vomit you guys out of my mouth. That's what he says. So God is not okay with a mediocre marriage. Now, when a marriage, like the couples that I work with, when they said, okay, Amanda, we'll take the sexual immorality situation. Amanda, I know, biblically speaking, I have grounds for divorce, but I do want to reconcile with my husband. I want to reconcile with my wife. And so we do the hard work of doing that, where the husband or the wife, whoever was the offender, where they confess and then they forsake, right? How do we know? You will know them by their fruits, meaning you can't just, talk a good game with your mouth and not have behavior changes to back it up. And so there is reconciliation in there. But then I have a lot of people who will say, Amanda, my relationship is awful, but look, I'm still married. And I had this one family, horrible marriage, toxic relationship, and the husband and the wife, well, we're still married because God hates divorce, and our children, we're doing it for our children. And I looked at them and I said, really? You're doing it for the children? Because you think that a ring on the finger, a toxic marriage, is useful for your children? And so I asked the father, I looked at him and I said, would you wish your marriage on your son and on your daughter? And he said, I wouldn't wish my marriage, Amanda, on my worst enemy. And I said, well, that's exactly what's going to happen if you don't change your marriage, because your children are watching you and they are going to mirror what they are seeing, what they're experiencing, what they know. Oh man, there's so much I could say about this, but I'm going to say it quickly. They did a research. There's a book that I read, The Body Keeps Score, and they did this research where they got a dog and they put this dog in a cage. It's kind of mean, okay? They put this dog in the cage and they began to shock the dog. And before, he would squeal and he would scream and he would try to kick his way out of it, and they shocked him. Eventually, he just got used to it. He just would lay down. They would shock him and he would just take it. Now look at this. At one point, after he kind of got conditioned in that situation, they opened the cage. Guess what happened? You think the dog ran out? The dog just sat there. They literally needed to physically drag the dog out of this cage. Can you believe that? And that's what happens to us. We tend to repeat what we see from our parents, even though it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable but comfortable. It's all that we know. And so truly, if you are having a toxic marriage, this is not good to anyone. And so what I have is a lot of people with this illusion of, oh, I'm pleasing God, Amanda, because, while we hate each other, while it's toxic, while we are verbally abusive, while our kids are just in a negative environment, look, we're still married. No. If you're staying married for the honor and glory of God, that is one thing. If you're staying married because you are a coward, I'm sorry, but I'm saying it how it is. You're staying married for the honor and glory of God, that's one thing. If you're staying married because you are a coward, because you're not willing to do something to change your marriage, that's something completely different. I'm telling you right now, the God I serve and the God you serve, in the Bible, it says Jesus came to give you life and to give it abundantly. A mediocre marriage does not fulfill the abundant life that Jesus wants to give to you and to me. So I do not buy that at all. Okay? So we have husbands and wives, and I had to change a lot to be married to Renee. Renee had to change a lot to be married to me. You know why? Because I will not allow Renee to be anything less than the absolute best he can be. I want Renee to fulfill the destiny that God has created for him. And so I am not okay with Renee simply existing. I want him to thrive and to live. And I told him, I said, Renee, our marriage, we're not going to become like two roommates. Our marriage is going to be awesome. And so if your marriage is for the honor and glory of God, you will not just cross your arms and stand around while your marriage is falling apart. No. Don't be a coward. Don't just allow things to simply be going. There's a lot of husbands, a lot of wives who have just said, oh man, I'm just indifferent. Nothing's going to change. There's nothing I can do. But look, I'm still married. I get to still go to church on weekends and pretend like we're a happy family and pretend like, look, we like each other. No, you don't. You hate each other. Your children know it. The friends close to you know it. And this is not for the honor and glory of God. This is because you are a coward. But now there is something that you can do about it. So, man, I went on a tangent here, but I hope it was helpful. Please keep sending your questions. I love it. Thank you for your participation, whoever it was that sent it.